सेंटर फॉर वुमेन स्टडीज़, मौलाना आज़ाद नेशनल उर्दू यूनिवर्सिटी और नेशनल कमीशन फॉर वुमेन की जानिब से आज यहाँ एक कलेक्टियम मुनक्कद किया जा रहा है। इसमें मैं आमना तहसीन, इंचार्ज सेंटर फॉर वुमेन स्टडीज़ की हैसियत से आप तमाम का यहाँ खैर मक़दम करती हूँ, वेलकम करती हूँ। हमारी एक रवायत रही है कि हम हर प्रोग्राम क़िरात कलाम पाक से शुरू करते हैं, तो इसके लिए मैं आयशा खातून का नाम लूँगी, वो यहाँ आएँ और क़ुरान की चंद आयतों की क़िरात यहाँ पेश करें।
अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। लिर्रिजालि नसीबुम मिम्मा तरकल वालिदानि वल अक़रबून वलिन्निसाइ नसीबुम मिम्मा तरकल वालिदानि वल अक़रबून मिम्मा क़ल्ल मिन्हु औ कथुर नसीबम मफ़रूज़ा। या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू ला यहिल्लु लकुम अन तरिसु अन्निसाअ करहा वला तअज़ुलूहुन्न लितज़हबू बिबअज़ि मा आतैतुमूहुन्न इल्ला अन यअतीन बिफ़ाहिशतिन मुबय्यिनह वअशिरुहुन्न बिलमअरूफ फ़इन करिहतुमूहुन्न फ़असा अन तकरहू शैअन वयजअल अल्लाहु फ़ीहि खैरन कसीरा। सदक़ल्लाहुल अज़ीम। अभी जिन दो मुख्तलिफ़ आयतों की तिलावत की गई है वो सूरे निसा की आयत 9 और 19 थी, जिनका तर्जुमा पेश है। मर्दों के लिए भी हिस्सा है उस चीज़ में जिसको माँ बाप और बहुत नज़दीक के क़राबतदार छोड़ जाएं, और औरतों के लिए भी हिस्सा है उस चीज़ में जिसको माँ बाप और बहुत नज़दीक के क़राबतदार छोड़ जाएं, ख़ाह चीज़ कलील हो या कसीर, हिस्सा क़तई है। ए ईमान वालो, तुमको ये बात हलाल नहीं कि औरतों के माल या जान के जबरन मालिक हो जाओ, और उन औरतों को इस गर्ज से मुक़य्यद मत करो कि जो कुछ तुम लोगों ने उनको दिया है इसमें का कोई हिस्सा वसूल कर लो। ये कि औरतें सरी नाशाइस्ता हरकत करें, उनके साथ खूबी के साथ गुज़रान किया करो, और अगर वो तुमको नापसंद हो तो मुमकिन है कि तुम एक शय को नापसंद करो और अल्लाह ताला इसके अंदर कोई मफादात रख दे। व आखिरु दावा अनिल हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन।
शुक्रिया आयशा खातून। आज जिस टॉपिक पर, जिस थीम पर गौर व फिक्र करने के लिए हम जमा हुए हैं, मेन स्ट्रीमिंग ऑफ मुस्लिम वुमेन द वे फॉरवर्ड, बिल्कुल इसकी तर्जुमानी करती हुई आयतें अभी हम सुन रहे थे, जिसमें जेंडर इक्वालिटी का मैसेज जो कि इस्लाम ने दिया, इसके ताल्लुक़ से इशारा किया गया। एक और मैसेज हम उर्दू यूनिवर्सिटी की तराना की शक्ल में सुन लेते हैं, और दोनों मैसेजेस को बाकायदा सुनने के बाद प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत करते हैं। मनु का तराना अभी यहाँ प्ले किया जाएगा।
सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे सा मा गा रे। ये जामियाए ज़बान उर्दू, ये जामियाए ज़बान उर्दू, ज़बान उर्दू का आशिया है, ज़बान उर्दू का आशिया है। ये जामियाए ज़बान उर्दू, ये जामियाए ज़बान उर्दू। सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा, सारे गा मा गा रे सा रे नी सा मा गा रे सा। कलाम सारे है दर्ज रूह में, कलम से उतरा हुआ बदन है। ये इल्म का शहर घर है मेरा, मेरा मदरसा मेरा वतन है। तालीम का मौसम है, तहजीब की फसलें हैं, हम रोशनी करते हैं, सूरज की नस्लें हैं। उर्दू की उड़े खुशबू, ये जामिया है ज़बान उर्दू, ये जामिया है ज़बान उर्दू, ये जामिया है ज़बान उर्दू, ये जामिया है ज़बान उर्दू। जो दाना गुजरे दिन इस ज़मीं से, जो दाना गुजरे थे इस ज़मीं से, वो इल्म के बीज बो गए हैं। बड़े हुए जब पौधे बढ़ के, हमारे कद ऊंचे हो गए हैं। हम चांद की पेशानी जब छू के निकलते हैं, कायनात में है पाँव और मार्स पे चलते हैं। उर्दू की उड़े खुशबू, ये जामिया है ज़बान उर्दू, 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 ये जामिया है ज़बान उर्दू। ज़बान उर्दू का आशियाँ है, ये जामिया है ज़बान उर्दू।
सेंटर फॉर वुमेन स्टडीज़ और नेशनल कमीशन फॉर वुमेन के कोलैबोरेशन के साथ में आज ये प्रोग्राम यहाँ मुनक़्क़द किया जा रहा है। आज के इस सेशन को चेयर कर रही हैं प्रोफेसर फातिमा अली ख़ान, जो फॉर्मर हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट रही ज्योग्राफी उस्मान यूनिवर्सिटी की। इसके अलावा मेंबर ICSSR भी हैं। हम उनका दिल की गहराइयों से खैर मकदम करते हैं। ज़ोरदार तालियों के साथ इनका खैर मकदम कीजिए। मैं अपनी स्टूडेंट से ख्वाहिश करूंगी कि वो गुलदस्ता पेश करें। प्रोफेसर फातिमा अली ख़ान। नेशनल कमीशन फॉर विमेन की जानिब से एक बेहद अहम ख़दम, मैं इसको कहूँगी अगर, कि मुस्लिम विमेन के मसाइल पर गौर व फिक्र, सोचने समझने और उन्हें मेन स्ट्रीम में किस तरह से दाखिल किया जा सकता है, कैसे उनका इंक्लूजन हो सकता है, इस पर एक डिबेट के लिए उन्होंने अपने कदम आगे बढ़ाए और हमने उन्हें बेहद ही दिल की गहराइयों से उनके प्रपोजल का हमने खैर मकदम किया और आज वो हमारे दरमियान मौजूद हैं। हम उनके बेहद शुक्रगुजार हैं, ख़ास तौर पर नेशनल कमीशन फॉर वुमेन की चेयरपर्सन मोहतरमा ललिता कुमारा मंगलम को ज़ोरदार तालीम के साथ उनका हम खैर मकदम भी करते हैं मौलाना आज़ाद यूनिवर्सिटी में और उनका शुक्रिया भी अदा करते हैं। स्टूडेंट नजमा उन्हें गुल पेश कर रही हैं। एक और नेशनल कमीशन फॉर वुमेन की मेंबर, बहुत ही अगर मैं कहूँ कि बहुत ही एक्टिव मेंबर भी आज हमारे दरमियान हैं। मेरी मुराद शमीना शफीक से है, हम उनका भी खैर मकदम करते हैं। उन्हें भी हम गुलों से उनका खैर मकदम करेंगे। यहाँ मौजूद स्टाफ, टीचिंग और नॉन टीचिंग स्टूडेंट्स ये बेहतर तौर पर जानता है प्रोफेसर आमना किशोर मैडम के ताल्लुक से। अगर उन्हें आज मैं मदर ऑफ मानो कहूँ तो बेजा बिल्कुल नहीं होगा। उनका भी हम दिल की गहराइयों से खैर मकदम करते हैं। उससे पहले बस एक जुमले में कहकर आगे की कार्रवाई के लिए मैं प्रोफेसर फातिमा अली ख़ान से दरख्वास्त करूंगी कि वो इस सेशन के प्रोग्राम को आगे बढ़ाएं। सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहूँगी कि जब हम मुस्लिम वुमेन की बात करते हैं तो हम मुस्लिम वुमेन को अगर हम देखें पहले तो एक वो दौर भी था जब उसने यहाँ सरजमीन हिंद पर रोल भी किया, फिलासफर भी रही। हर वो डिसिप्लिन जिंदगी का, हर वो दायरा, इसमें निहायत ही एक्टिव मुस्लिम वुमेन रही हैं, हिस्ट्री बताती ज़रूर है। लेकिन आज जब हम देखते हैं मुख्तलिफ रिपोर्ट्स में, खा वो अनइक्वल सिटीजन हो, खा वो वॉइस ऑफ वॉइसलेस हो, खा वो सचर कमेटी रिपोर्ट हो, खा वो मिश्रा कमीशन रिपोर्ट हो, इन सब से हमें बखूबी अंदाज़ा हो जाता है कि आज मुस्लिम वुमेन कहाँ ठहरी हैं। इसी ऑब्जेक्टिव को लेकर कि इस पर एक डिबेट ओपन प्लेटफॉर्म पर हो, एक डिस्कशन हो कि किस तरह से हम एक वे फॉरवर्ड देख सकते हैं, फ्यूचर का एक स्ट्रैटेजी क्या होनी चाहिए, इसी मकसद को लेकर आज इस तरह का प्रोग्राम यहाँ रखा गया है, जिसमें तमाम हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन जिन्हें हमने जहमत दी है वो यहाँ तशरीफ़ फरमा है। मैं उनका भी दिल की गहराइयों से खैर मकदम करती हूँ, और हमारे मनों के टीचिंग और नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ और मेरे स्टूडेंट्स, उन तमाम का यहाँ मैं खैर मकदम करते हुए मैं आगे की कार्रवाई के लिए प्रोफेसर फातिमा अली खान से गुजारिश करती हूँ। बहुत शुक्रिया।
Just like to repeat what Amina has said. It's a very happy occasion that we are here today to talk about Muslim women. I don't know about mainstreaming. And I'm also very, very happy that we have with us the chairperson of the National Commission for Women, and she has shown such a lot of interest in this, and this can only be all for the better. So thank you for your presence here. Aminat Tehseen has also done half my job by saying at the outset that everyone has very short time. I regret that. I'm sure we would have liked to hear, but the program is very intense, time is limited, and I wouldn't want to stop people, but I think just keep in mind about the time limit. Another thing that I want to say at the outset, when this university was first started, one of the first departments was the Center for Women's Studies. And the chairperson of the UGC made sure this was one of the very few universities that started, putting women in the center right from the inset. And I'm glad that this tradition is continuing. So, coming back to today's program, I request Professor Amina Kishore to give the keynote address, and which will set the base for today's work.
Dr. Amina Tehseen, Director, Center for Women's Studies, my friends in the Society of Hyderabad, my colleagues in Manu, and dear young students. I'm very conscious of the many things that we have to do in this morning session, so I shall be raising some issues. It's not really an address, but a pointer towards what I hope will be the business of the rest of the day. I'll start. I am very adept at using my seniority and gray hair and raising some difficulties. I'll start by raising 3 points which bring frowns to my forehead sometimes. One is, I look at the stasis, I look at the stoppages, the language that we hear about women, the status of women in India, and the status of Muslim women in India, is nothing new. We have been speaking this language for the past, I remember, 20 years. I remember in the last decade of the 20th century, we spoke the same things that we are speaking today, and that when we have so many governmental agencies, so many activists, so many departments of women's studies coming up, so much of awareness, so much of propaganda on the media, in spite of that, why is there a stasis? When you speak of the ground figures, things do not seem to have moved, and it creates an anxiety in me. The second thing that creates an anxiety in me, especially when we speak of the Muslim women, You notice I'm hurrying with things. I'm adding things one after the other so that I might give place to the others. The second problem to me is when we speak of the Muslim women and her problem, Muslim women and their problems, we put the blame square into the laps of the Islamist system. We speak of patriarchy in Islam. We speak of the laws which deprive women in Islam. I do not know if that is the only culprit. I do not know if I can isolate that and say this is the only problem with Muslim women. The third point that worries me again is this word called mainstreaming. I'll elaborate on all the 3 points a little bit after I identify them. How do we identify mainstreaming? How do we define mainstreaming? Is mainstreaming defined as visibility in society, in jobs, in colleges, in schools? To look at, it doesn't seem to be a very big problem. Though when you look at the refinements, yes, there are problems, but is visibility the only factor? Does mainstreaming have something to do with empowerment? Does mainstreaming have anything to do with gaining a sense of confidence? We have to identify, define these terms before we go ahead. And I do know that there are people who are working on the hotbed of this problem. I know that there are senior and young activists in the field. I know that departments are conducting researches. But unless the result of this activity, unless the result of this research, unless the outcome of the programs that the commissions are organizing, unless that is made public, unless the word goes to the taker, to the recipient of this deprivation or reward, whatever, unless she gets her full hands on, I think the result will be what I said earlier on. 20 years from today, perhaps the results will continue to be the same dismal results. So we have to stop talking about the status quo and we have to start talking about what is to be done. That is why I like the second phrase in the titling of today's program, the way forward. What next? My friends and my students know me. They call me a solutionist. I'm always talking of solutions and not the problems. And I think that is what is important. We have identified the problems. The problems are not new. Look at solutions. Look for solutions. And once you find the solutions, the different bodies which are working on this problem should collate the solutions, should bring them together and see that the results of that study and the findings are really seeping to the person who deserves to receive that result. I had read an article by Amartya Sen some time back where he said, let us not look at the cumulative, let us not forget that the cumulative disadvantage is more important than the individual problem. It is not that she is a Muslim, therefore she has a problem. It is not just that she is a woman, therefore there is a problem. It is not just that she belongs to a minority, therefore she is a problem. We know that the Muslim woman is what can be called a minority within a minority. The deprivations which go to the minority, the larger group minority, will naturally seep down to her. And this myth that we have created about feminism, it does not apply to the Indian system in my opinion. In my opinion, what is needed here is the everyday feminism, the daily feminism. The feminism which is a signal that the woman is aware. The feminism which says that, yes, I'm ready for a dialogue. In my opinion, that is the feminism. The radical feminism of the Western construct doesn't suit the Indian soil. It doesn't suit our psyche. I told you I'm an older woman, and my language might be different from yours. My language might be different from those activists who are working straight on in the field and looking at those deprived cases. I know that cases are there. But I am saying that we who work for them, unless we teach them that capacity building, confidence building, equipping yourself for life, that may help as anodynes for your actual problem. So show them the tonic, show them the medicine, show them the way to get out of it. And I know, I'm not playing up to the men in the gallery, but I know that there are good men out there. I know that there are good clerics. I know that there are good Maulvis, ulemas, people who are talking. Recently we have heard about women's organizations being floated in almost all the Jamaats. They are working for it. And it's up to the woman then, the woman activist within the Jamaats, within the organizations, within the religious groups. I can see some skepticism in one or two faces, but this is how I think that the dialogue can be started. Don't stay back, don't sit back and say, yes, we are marginalized, and yes, we will not be heard. I am a very persistent kind of a worker. I believe in persistence. I believe that first time dialogue is not allowed, try it again. Media is useful. I think the success of the Muslim women activists today, or all women activists, can I have a little water? The success of visibility in the media, they are writing. What needs to be addressed, in my opinion, is the language that is being used between genders. These gender prejudices and gender biases, they have to be eliminated. We are all deeply pained today by the language that is being used and allowed in the media. I think on the 21st, I was alarmed to read an article by Shobha De, where she condones the use of abusive words in media. I am surprised at such a condonation. I think that this kind of license that we give allows for the prurience to grow in society. I think the problem has been that the assertion for rights has not been done in the proper language. Many times I tell my women colleagues, my younger colleagues, a woman is essential on many committees. It puts a stop to indecency. It puts a stop to illogic. Sorry, I praise men and I take back the praise. So these are techniques that you can teach your people in the field. Let them speak out, but let them speak out language which is acceptable. Let them put a stop to language which is unacceptable. I'm sorry. Standing here in an educational institution, the most ultimate anodyne for the situation that I can suggest is, of course, educating the women. But there I'll put a condition that what we have defined education as is mere spending an amount of time in an educational institution and carrying back a paper. Education has not been defined by us as the broadening of mind and equipping of personalities or developing of personalities. We have not defined education as that which teaches you how to look at yourself and at the other. We have not looked at education like that. So on the holistic level, I think we, as activists in the field of education, should encourage value education and address both the young men and young women. There are some activists who are working on projects addressing Muslim youth. That is important. Young Muslim women, young Muslim men, both need to be addressed. Address them through your educational institutions. The second thing that you can do in the educational institutions to empower your women, empower Muslim women, especially institutions like this, where there are a number of Muslim women, young women coming in for their degrees. Give them parallel education, skill-based education, parallel, not after the degree, but while they are doing a degree. Provide them with a platform for inculcating or learning some skill, so that they go out of your institution with a degree and with some skill, so that they are ready for the job, for their livelihood. Look for avenues which are non-traditional avenues. They have their homes where they can learn to embroider and to sew and to stitch. Don't go in for those traditional avenues of parallel education. Go in for those areas which have been traditionally thought of as men's areas of learning. Maybe Manu can teach the boys to sew and the girls to build a computer. Right? These are the ways in which the educational institution can be innovative. Offer them the chance. And I'm telling you, there are our young men who are ready for this, ready for a cookery course, ready for becoming master chef, and women who are ready to become computer programmers. Why not? There's all the avenue open for you. So it is up to the educational institution to get into a partnership with the activists on the field who can identify the problem, with the governmental agencies who can provide the know-how and provide the platform for implementation, and with your knowledge of the need that the youth feels, need of your youth, you can formulate these kind of educational programs and float them. And I'm sure, I am very confident, I am an optimist. I believe that things will improve. I believe that 10 years from now, no Amna Kishore will stand to say that there's a frown on her forehead. The frowns on our forehead have been there for too long. And I think I'm very confident with the National Commission for Women coming forward, with the center coming forward to join them, and with so many activists coming in at one call from the center to share their experiences. I'm very acutely conscious of the fact that I'm theorizing, whereas there is practical knowledge out there. You'll get practical inputs from people who will come to speak after me, but I thank Dr. Amna Tehseen for this opportunity that she's created. I like to dil ke papole phorna, that kind of thing is very important, and I'm very, very grateful to you for giving me this opportunity.
He has, set us thinking, and I think the rest will follow. The first of the resource persons to speak now is Dr. Shanda, who's the head of the Department of Women's Education.
Let me start with a very positive note, or the fact rather, that Islam, Madam Lalita Kumara Mangalam, I want your attention here, that Islam is strongly, it believes in gender equality. It propagates, whether in Quran or through Hadith or the practices of the Prophet. When the Islam, the religion itself propagates gender equality, today I'm surprised to see that we are talking on mainstreaming of Muslim women. What must be the reason for this? We have been talking, there are many such colloquium in the past, but I feel that there's no way forward so far. What is marring this community? There's a huge gap between what Islam teaches and the community practices. That gulf we are here to patch by recurringly meeting on these issues, discoursing on the issue, and deliberating on these issues. And then there is Sachar committee. We have been given only 5 minutes, which I'm I have bad feeling for that we may not be able to cover that, what we want to speak extensively, which requires discourse, what I said. Because it should not be a cosmetic practice which has become of late now, just to talk on Muslim women and then go off and then forget outside the room. I'm sorry for the bitterness which I have gained over the time of experience, whatever I've had. Now coming to the point when the Sachar committee, 10 years past, has declared that Muslim women are backward, what steps have we taken forward? How much, I'm sorry to say, National Commission has come forward with strategies to do and has implemented it. Today, there is a strong need to problematize the concept mainstreaming. Rightly said, rightly observed by my predecessor, Professor Amina Kishore, that why do we require to problematize, and then there is a thick, discussion required on it. Like, why are we not along with other females? Why our identity is differing over the years, especially when earlier we used to fight under one, umbrella, over one forum, whatever the problems we had. What is the cause, what is the reason, which political party or whatever not, our political measures, whatever we have adopted. Like today, Muslim women have a different set of problems than today, by very reason that we are talking on Muslim women's mainstreaming, that reflects a lot on the realities. Second thing which I want to say, and very clearly, that